Yes, hello all. Welcome to
Hello,
the
everybody. We're
Omniverse
here.
Comics Guide
Whoever's here.
podcast, should anyone be here or not. We are... oh, that's the other thing as well. You know, when you watch yourself back, so when I edit, I have to see myself back, which I find painful. Like, I don't like it. And I go like, what is that guy talking about? And there are times when I just go, you literally spent 2 minutes saying a thing you said 5 minutes ago. So that's when I start chopping. But I did it again. I say so much. So I'm going to try and learn not to say
It's okay. It's a good exercise, but don't let it bother you.
exercise.
I think I say like a lot.
I never noticed that.
And it all depends on the time of day. I think when I'm having like that talking to your wife conversation, reiterating stories,
Yeah.
and you're trying to go through your memories, there's a lot of the, like, and I'm like,
yeah.
man, like I just did right now. You see? So I think I use that a lot.
Oh, there's nothing wrong
And
with
I don't
that.
want to.
Well,
But it's good.
It's good to
Yeah,
be
it's
aware of
good,
these
but
things.
nobody really.
notices
Yeah,
until some
I mean,
knobhead points it out.
yeah.
Oops.
There are some people who there are some people who have their little world
What?
times
The what?
where it distracts you.
The what time?
Did I skip? I think we skipped.
We did skip.
When there's people who have like their little word ticks
Yeah.
and they say something so frequently that you can, when someone imitates it, you automatically know.
Yeah.
And sometimes when that person has those things, you almost get distracted by that little. And Will Smith, I find, has that.
Oh, that was very
When
Will
he's
Smith
trying
when he
to
did that.
defend himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at some point you're thinking to yourself, like, see? Get on with it, dude. Do you really know what you want to say? And you're just focused on, So, yeah.
There is a comic creator I
Word
was listening
ticks.
to an interview with him, and I don't want to say who it is because it just sounds like it's narky. But I was listening to an interview with him, and I had to turn it off because I latched on to this habit that he has, and I couldn't get past it, and I had to turn it off. Because the problem is, once I spot a thing, I can't unspot it.
Yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, it's true. I try to be aware of that myself.
Whee!
Are you ready to get this show on the road?
Are you ready to rock? Yes.
Are you ready to rock? You want to do it? What color should my mic be today? Let's go.
These are the important things.
Let it change colors. Yes, because they'll distract you through the show. All right, let's do our countdown. Let's get into the live and the YouTube. Dave, buckle up.
Okay.
Here we go.
Buckling up.
4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. Welcome, everybody, to the Omniverse Comics Guide podcast. We are your hosts. You know us. You've been here before. That's me. That's him. Dave.
Guess what the theme is this week?
My Nacho Libre mask. Guess what the theme is this week, everybody?
It's
Dave,
Christmas.
tell us. What does it say on the screen?
A special Christmas episode. I'm the Christmas wolf.
That's why I'm dressed in green. Christmas
go.
green. Yes. Are you the wolf man for the whole show? Are you going to rock it the whole time?
No, this belongs to my 6-year-old, and wearing this is making my eyes want to pop out of my face.
Man, how do they do it? Kids, right? Resilient.
They are, aren't they?
So
Well,
good.
admittedly, she's got a 6-year-old size head, so that's cheating.
Yeah.
I mean, I did have an alternative
true.
outfit
That's
if you want to see it. Do you want to see it?
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Oh, boy.
I'm
I have an
Eric
idea.
Anthony. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Omniverse Comics Guide.
If that's what I sound like Ben Grimm, and I like it.
You do. Hi.
That's good.
Thanks for listening to the show, everyone. Make sure you subscribe and like. And a big shout out to my pal, Dave here. A shout out to my drink I'm holding in my hand. I just took my dog for a walk, so big shout out to my dog. I took her for a walk down the pavement.
Shout out to
so
Kobe.
A big shout out to the pavement. Thanks for watching, everybody.
I like it.
I should have shaved.
I wish I sounded that cool. To be quite honest with you, is that what I sound like on your end?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Can't be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you play it back, you'll see. Like, is your mum watching? Because I bet she's going, I don't understand. He's on both of the screens.
Oh man, that's good. I love it. This week, clearly, we're dressing up. We're in the season. We're talking scary stories. It's our top 10 stories for what does it say on the ticker? Stories for Halloween.
Top 10 stories for Halloween. So, yeah, we're not saying horror. We're not saying spooky. We're saying stories for Halloween.
Makes it very broad.
Makes it very broad. Are you a horror fan? Do you read horror comics much?
I'm not.
No, me either.
I'm not an expert in the area, but I do think that there are themes that I enjoy, and the suspense, the thrill, the fright, the unknown, that creepy feeling that comes along with a good story is also like what we love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you want to have that of that super heroics where you feel like you're flying or you're Iron Man, but then there's also those times where you just want to put a blanket over your head and you know what's gonna happen next. Turn the page. That's a good feeling too, and a lot of different stories make you feel that way.
How are you reading it with a blanket on your head? It's quite dark.
You know that kind of kid feeling with the flashlight and
with a candle, and then it's on fire.
When a 40-year-old says it, it sounds creepy. But I'm thinking back to when I was like a kid, keeping the lamp on to read another page, right? Oh, Dave.
What? That was loud.
Was it a challenge for you? Was it a challenge for you to come up with your list?
Yeah, until we opened it up in that way, it was. Yeah, because I don't read a lot of horror. It tends to be the same kind of pattern, and I notice patterns. It's like we were talking earlier about, noticing people's speech patterns and stuff. I notice patterns, and when I see it, I can't unsee it. And horror, a lot of the time, if it's not done well, tends to be the same kind of patterns.
Gotcha.
And there are probably people who like horror going, no, not really, not unless you know. You're no expert. I'm not an expert in horror, so I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of like the occult in general.
No.
I know that it has its place in I know it's sprinkled throughout comic books, right? You can't avoid it. There's always going to be some character on the team that dabbles in the magics and whatever. But to like out of the Valiant line, for instance, I have no interest in Shadow Man.
Same.
Right? I'm not clamoring. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not my thing. Not for me.
Yeah.
But I don't have a problem doing like Ninjak when he's in the temple, doing some sort of meditation that takes him to another dimension like that. That's kind of occultish, right? But that one I'm like, this is creepy, but I'm down for the adventure.
Yeah.
But the other stuff, I'm like, I don't need the voodoo. I'm not into the voodoo aspect of stuff.
It's like when you read the old 70s Marvel and DC, especially, like whenever they face like a villain who's into that kind of stuff, he's normally wearing a purple robe with a hood. Every time. Necrodamus, purple robe with a hood. The Dissard, purple robe with a hood. It's like they're all going, where'd you buy your outfit? Oh, I get it down at Purple Robes and Hoods. They go like, I'm off down there myself. Bargain. I've lost you on the screen. You're right.
Yeah, you're back.
Cool.
I got you. We're here.
But yeah, there's this weird...
Yeah, I was a little...
Huh?
No, go ahead.
Oh.
I thought it froze and you thought I froze. We're just being polite. Let's get into our list.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Would you like to go first?
I'm
not sure.
I think I went first last time, but what I will say is, anyone watching, if you've got a suggestion for one of your favorite Halloween appropriate stories, please feel free to drop it in the chat. We will shout it out. We're gonna shout it out. So we will do that. But yeah, feel free to drop it in, because it's nice when it's not just our minds throwing this together, and you get to have your say too. So feel free. Eric
Absolutely.
Anthony, it's over to you.
All right. I found myself finding it easier in the big two round, more horror things from the DC side for me that I was familiar with. Wasn't too familiar with the indie as much, but I will go with one to start. If this is considered indie, I'm not sure. IDW, is IDW considered indie?
Do you know what? We're kind of. I'm happy to stick to like anything that's not Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, or Image is essentially independent. And some people would argue.
Okay.
Some people would argue if you do stuff for Image or Dark Horse, because you have to put so much work in, it's technically indie. But potato.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna
Shout
go
out
with
to
an
potatoes.
IDW.
I'm gonna stop doing that.
It's gonna hurt your voice.
I can do that all night.
I don't know if you've read this. Lock and Key Compendium from Joe Hill, Gabriel Rodriguez. There's a Netflix show about it, so you may have already watched that, which I feel is much more toned down, but still quite creepy because you've got this huge house with all of these unlimited options depending on what key opens which door. Without spoiling anything too much, and to be quite honest, I haven't finished this. I'm halfway through, so
Right.
I don't know the book back to front. And what I do remember is that it feels kind of like a Narnia,
Yeah.
but with a very dark backdrop of what brings them to that place,
Right.
if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think so.
And what's lurking in their, the key house or the lock house that they end up living in after a death in the family.
Right.
There's adventure, but there's also terror.
Okay.
And what brings them there essentially, if you've seen the show, I think it's pretty quick that you know the premise of the show. It's not so much a spoiler, but the death in the family is quite gruesome, and it's shown in the book in a way that will creep you out. So there's a little bit of everything here. There's that Narnia, Harry Potter aspect of different worlds and the rules that exist in them when you open certain doors in the lock house. And then there's the horror element of what's lurking there. So I don't know if that whets anybody's appetite, but I don't want to pretend like I know it better than that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. It's best to be honest, isn't it? And but it's a good shout because I've only read a third of it. I had they did it as 3 hardcovers at one point.
Yeah,
like 3 deluxe. I had volume 1, and then I think it was really hard to get volume 2 or 3, and I didn't carry on. But I wanted to, and now I'm really regretting not picking that up.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about this, but I saw a couple of really nice reviews about it. And Gabriel Rodriguez's art, I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to hold up the book for everybody. Can you see that, Dave?
There's quite a lot of light on it, so it's quite hard to see. I can always throw up some pages.
Okay. But if you do find some of the pages for it, it's got this sort of innocence to it.
Yeah.
But then because of that innocence, there's a little bit of an element where he can bring out the sinister.
Yeah.
In the artwork. And it's a tricky book to like. It's kind of kiddie, but definitely not for kids.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it?
If that makes any sense.
We've had a few books like that,
Yeah.
I swear, lately, where it looks like it's kind of kid-friendly art, and it's not. And that's what catches you off guard. And I can't remember what we said it about a few things. One was Kaiju Max. I can't remember what else. But it's cool, because when you have that expectation when you look at the images, that can really, really throw you off. And you kind of get this, but you think, I think I know what style they're going for here. And then something horrendous happens. You're like, what am I reading? And then that's the impact. Because like you can't do jump scares in comics. Well, I think I mentioned before, I've seen one jump scare in a comic, and I just went, oh. Because like it doesn't really... It's sort of like made me go, ugh. But that was about it. So you have to find other ways to do it. Right. And I think like the thing with a jump scare is it's subverting your expectations. It builds you up to something, or it goes really quiet, and then it's like, wow, because it's just that conflict. So the best they can do, I think, is to kind of do it with art style. and it kind of lulls you into a full sense of security, and then they just smack you around the face with like genuine horror. So
Yeah,
it's a
no,
smart way
it's
to
true.
do that.
Yeah, and you have to be with comics because you're right. You don't have the music that builds tension like in a horror film or in a scary movie, and you don't have that feeling of someone behind the corner that the music and the surprise is going to make you go, whoa. In a comic, it really has to become psychological,
Yes.
and it's all in the art where you're following it to a point where I'm uncomfortable. Like this is a still picture that I can stare at now, and it's like I can't turn away, but it's so disturbing. Like when you read something out of Preacher, it's like I have to look at it because I've wanted to know what's behind that door for so long.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the episode, the issues with Meat Man, is that what
Oh
it's
God, the
called?
Meat Man.
The little guy
Yeah.
you know something's there and you don't want to know, but when it finally happens, you're like, what the heck has been going on? Right? So yeah, it's got to be very psychological and what's the word? The intent has to be very purposeful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to
That's
put
a
it.
good way to put it. Excellent
Your
choice.
your first pick,
Okay.
my friend.
My first, I did a big my first pick tonight, Matthew, is Out from AWA, or AWA Upshot, I think they're called now. I don't know what AWA brings up on this. So when you look up comic stuff, like I remember looking up Spider-Man Big Time, or no, it was the spin-off Big Time, and it just came up with loads of porn novels. So I don't know what Our comes up with, but I'm sure Omega Bread can guess.
Oh man.
Judging by one of his comments already. So Out is set in World War II, in a prisoner of war camp, and there's a guy in the camp who no one trusts, who is a translator, and part of the reason why they don't trust him is because he can speak German. But he can speak a number of other languages as well, and it looks like there are experiments going on in this prisoner of war camp, and there's something quite dark and sinister in there. It's hard to tell if it's demonic, if it's like some kind of ancient earthly evil, or what it is, but this whole thing builds up to them trying to control this thing and testing it on the captives, on the guys in the prisoner of war camp. So largely like American and British soldiers. So while they're trying to get out, so it's almost like what was The Great Escape? It's almost like The Great Escape with aliens thrown in, like the two mashed together. It's only a 5-issue series, so it's relatively short, but it's by Rob Williams, who recently had on, who's writing Petrolhead, and he's also known for Suicide Squad and quite a lot. He's written tons of books, Rob has, over the years. But also Will Conrad, who you may have... I think Will Conrad... Oh, no, I thought he was on Spider-Man 2099. He wasn't. I can't remember what I've seen him on, but he's got the right style for this. It's very sinister. I'll throw some pages up, but it's got a very sinister style, and it's all very shadowy. And this creature comes out at night, and it's all the whole mystery behind it is like, what is this thing, and how the hell are they going to get out, and is there actually a traitor in the camp? And it's almost like there's all these different levels to it. So it's got like the human paranoia, because that's one of the things that tends to come out, I think, in horror quite a lot. That is one of the tropes. Like, the real monster is us. So, it's one of those standard things. And like when you're dealing with Nazis, the real monster is humanity. So it makes perfect sense. But yeah, very, very short story. 5 issues. What are we dealing with here? Don't look at the back, 'cause it kind of spoils it. Damn it, I just realised. I didn't look at the back before I read it, so that's good. But it was recommended on our Discord channel. I think I found it. Oh,
nice.
I found it on something, and then someone in our Discord, I think it was Ryan, who said, you need to read it out. I should check back. But yeah, it was recommended on there, and that's what gave me the push to go and pick it up, I think. So, brilliant. So yeah, that's another thing. If you join our Discord, you can get in on the chat after the show and before the show, and we'll shout you out and keep you up to date on stuff. But yeah, so that was quite a nice fun read, and it's 5 issues and done. That's your story. So super thin, but you can get it for like a decent price at the moment. AWA books are generally one and done for the most part, and they've got some big name creators on them. Actually, there was another one I could have picked. I just realised there was another one I could have picked, which I think was was it? No, can't remember who it was. Anyway, they do quite a lot of horror stuff. I think AWA they do all sorts of stuff, but they've done quite a few horror books. But yeah, that's my first for the night. Did you want any more information? Did I breeze through that too quickly? It seemed pretty fast.
No, you did great. You did great. For a moment, I froze, and then when it came back in,
Yeah.
I was still like, you were still giving me all the goods on the book. So it was like, you were very thorough.
Oh, thank you.
It was good. Well done.
No worries. What do you got?
Number two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna go with a classic. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this one in another list for obvious top tens that we could have done. I'm happy I've saved it because I feel like it's very appropriate for the theme.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with this.
Oh,
Craven's
yes.
Last Hunt.
Oh, you little trickster.
um, it's a scariest Spider-Man story
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. I don't know if there's one that comes to mind. He's buried alive.
Yeah.
It's on the cover. There's no spoilers to that.
Nope.
Spider-Man is 2 weeks. It seems like he's missing in action. No one knows where he is. He's a newly married man, and Kraven the Hunter has finally conquered his the prey that has escaped him. He's conquered him, and it's very psychological. J.M. DeMatteis and Mike Zeck. I mean, those scenes where you're in Peter's subconscious, where the spiders are everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's so claustrophobic, and you really get the sense of what might be going through a tortured mind. Like, and for Peter to come out of that, realizing what life has been like. Like it's a great story.
Yeah.
Great for the season.
Yeah. That's a nice touch.
Terrifying.
It is. That's the great thing about when again, we don't want to spoil it too much for those who haven't read it. It came out in 1987, I think. But still, it was mentioned in the Discord again, funnily enough, and there were people in there saying like, I haven't read this book yet. Like, you've got to read the book. It's so good. So you don't want to spoil it for people, because at some point everything is new to someone. And the first time you read Kraven's Last Hunt, I think like you can't have that moment again. You know? So spoiling it it's just not fair. It's such a good story. It's short, 6 issues. There have been sequels. None of them are overly necessary. It's a great standalone story. And it is creepy.
Yeah. And I mean, I know I've spoiled it by saying when Spider-Man escapes being buried alive, but the book continues on, right?
Yeah.
It's Amazing Spider-Man number 296 or something like that. So the story continues. We all know that he lives, but it's still the experience of everything surrounding his life at the time. It's a good one. I don't think I've ever mentioned it in a Spider-Man list as of yet. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, somebody call me out on it. But for scary stories and superhero related, I can't think of one. I'm sure there are, but this is top-notch creepy.
Yeah, it's super creepy.
Especially a character that's usually bright.
Yes. Well, that's
bad luck, but he's in, the red. Like he's. Go ahead.
No, you go for it.
No,
I don't know what I was going to say.
I didn't even remember what I was going to say.
I don't know either. Sorry.
Anyways,
it was Jansen though, who's on tonight, who's part of the Discord group, who said that he's reading it, or he's at least one of the people in there who's been updating on like, I've got to read this story and that story. And he's on tonight, and yeah, he's reading it for the first time at the moment. So
good.
It's great to get people in on the old stories.
Yeah, I hope you really enjoy it.
That's nice.
Yeah, because there are some in the batch. There's so many stories during that time that they're a product of their time. Yeah. But then you do got those little chunks of story and art combined where it was a moment that is always worthy to go back to and check out and kind of study the craft and see like, wow, if this was a a moment, and then you could see how they built off of this to do that later. Like these are those little touchstones.
Hmm.
And everyone who's listened to me podcast knows how much I love JMD. So highest thumbs up.
Ooh.
Highest
Woo, the deepest of
yeah,
thumbs
I don't
up.
know what I was trying to say there. Yes. As high as you can go.
Oh, that made me.
Put it up there.
My eyes watered there, dude.
Highest recommendation.
2 thumbs as well. Sauce.
2 thumbs up.
Oh.
Yes.
Woo. Okay. Nice. Thank you. Oh, also, shout out to Mike Zeck, who's the artist on the series. Well, it's probably Mike Zeck's best art on a series, I think. You know, considering everything he's done, which is a fair bit, I would say it's his best. And I love Secret Wars, but it's...
Yeah. Yeah. It's again, it's that moment. Some creators, they have their moment, and this one is a remarkable one for both of them.
It is.
Yeah,
Excellent.
a highlight of both of their careers.
Yeah, lovely. Cheers, dude. So,
all right, my friend.
Okay.
Hey.
Got it. Okay. We have my number 2. I'm going with, prepare to roll your eyes, Marvel Zombies. But not that Marvel Zombie. Roll them back. If you're doing the same way, they'll just roll like straight out. So Marvel Zombies obviously was the 2005 series written by Robert Kirkman that spun out of the Ultimate Fantastic Four storyline that was sold as a crossover between Earth 616 and Earth 1610, the Ultimate Universe and the mainstream Marvel Universe. And people are going like, if you ever do this, you've run out of ideas. Right now. Oh, you filth. So
Yeah. Stay focused, Dave. Stay focused.
it's really difficult.
Look at me. Yeah, look at me.
Focus.
Don't look at
the
I'll
nasty
look at
man.
the chat.
So yeah, it sold as like it's going to be a crossover between the 2 universes, and then they flipped it, and actually it was the zombie universe, so that introduced the original Marvel Zombies. So when they did the 2015 Secret Wars storyline, and that was the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars, which I've openly said I'm not a fan of, but there were multiple accompanying series, and they were predominantly named after past Marvel events, already popular moments. Like there was an Inferno series, and there was a E for Extinction referencing X-Men, and there was an Infinity Gauntlet series, and so on and so forth. They did a Marvel Zombies series, just called Marvel Zombies. And the Marvel Zombies on Battleworld in that story, which was a mishmash of numerous different realities, I think it was called the Dead Zone. So there's like an area on Battleworld where it's just plagued with zombies from various different realities. So all Marvel Zombies from different universes are all in one place. And if you go in there, you're basically gonna just become one, you know. So in the story, and so even though Secret Wars was this big thing where there's all these little spin-offs, you can read this story as a standalone. It's a 4-issue mini by Cy Spurrier with art by Brad Walker. And it stars Elsa Bloodstone, who now is a little bit more famous because she was in the Werewolf by Night TV one-shot. Though the proper version. Because the proper version is way better. Sorry, whoever played her. But no. So, Elsa sees, from the safety of the shield, which is the wall they protect, they kind of the barrier between the zombies and all the realities that are containing the living, she sees a little girl in there who's not being bitten or affected, so she goes to try and help that little girl escape, but she can't get back to the wall, so she has to take a detour and go through the dead zone to try and get out, and it's about her journey through. And that's the premise. It's that simple. And she goes up against all sorts of various alternate universe Marvel Zombies characters on the way, and it's Elsa Bloodstone, man. And like when she's written right, she tends to be written by English writers, because that's where the cynicism and sarcasm comes in, and she's perfect for that. That's her true character. Sassy, a little bit lippy but smart, kind of quippy, that kind of rhyme. So yeah, it's proper classic Elsa Bloodstone in basically a massive county of zombies and trying to get this little girl out. That's the premise, and it's a one and done. It's 4 issues and done. So even if you don't read the rest of the Secret Wars event, which I mean I strongly recommend you don't, just read that. Just read those 4 issues. They're fine. They'll cover you. It's just it's a good story. It's a fun story, and I highly recommend it.
Nice. I like it. Good stuff. I know that sometimes the simple premises are the best.
Yeah.
Where the MacGuffin or that thing in the middle is what makes it complicated, but the premise is like from here to there. Can we do it? How?
Yeah.
That's
How?
cool.
Super simple. It's great.
You learn a lot about people too.
Yeah. And that's what it gives that character a chance to shine. So it's gold.
Nice. I like it. Number 3. It's still we're not at the break yet, right?
We're number 3, and then we're at the break. Jeez, we're on fire.
I'm gonna go with I don't know if this would be the equivalent of Marvel Zombies on the DC side. I don't think it is. It's a different type of story. I don't know if you've read this before. This is a writer that we speak highly of whenever we come across his work or we've read it. I haven't read a lot of it, especially some of his more recent Nightwing stuff, but this is Tom Taylor, Deceased.
Was that the recent
with
release?
Trevor Hairsine. This is the first volume.
That's massive. It looks huge.
I have it looks that's what she said. I got one in. No, it's not. It's just 6 issue, 7 issue.
It looks tall. Is it not
7
a deluxe?
issue? No, actually, it's a hardcover, but I think just like your regular trade stock for a hardcover. Yeah, but the Trevor Hairsine. I hope I'm saying that right.
Hairsine.
Artwork in it is perfect. Yeah, it's perfectly cast. It's I guess it would be considered. I don't know if it's Black Label or not, but it's in an Elseworld version of DC in the sense where the continuity here is whatever it was when this was released, whatever you need to know happened. But now this is the how can I put it simply, the anti-life equation that Darkseid is always trying to get his hands on becomes viral.
Is that it? Oh, I didn't know that was what. Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And it infects Earth, and they become zombified. But the zombies, if I remember correctly, the threat is that like you're going to be fighting zombie Wonder Woman. Like she knows what she's doing. Good luck. And so there's that race against everything to try to avoid getting bitten. And there's moments in here, one that comes to mind that it's heartbreaking, but adds to the terror of what the characters are going through, because nobody is safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got characters who have to make the worst possible decision that you never would want to see. It's like, no, you can't do that.
Really?
But
this sounds a lot like he did in Injustice. Similar vibe, right?
Kind of like that. Kind of like similar vibe of anything can happen and nobody is safe.
Okay.
But in this case, it's a virus, so everybody's under attack, as opposed to there being like an Injustice. It's very much the same of like nobody is safe, but allegiances are formed. And this one, everyone's like, let's go. We got to get away.
Yeah.
We got to save our lives. And who's going to stop this character as a zombie? Like, you go fight him. You think it's easy not to even, it doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
If it's a zombified Aquaman, he could give a couple of, he could take out a Superman. Like he can infect them in a fight. So, and then there's that element too. Like, how do you avoid getting infected? It's good. It's good stuff. And the series, I think it's going to come out next month in like a box set completed with all the tie-ins and miniseries and things like that.
I think you're right.
They should put it in a compendium.
Well, they've released a deluxe, or they're releasing a deluxe. I can't remember. I think it's out. It was either last month or the beginning of this month. I can't remember which, but there was so many books out in one go. I think it was last month. And that was that's why I thought that's what that was, like the oversized hardcover deluxe edition. God, what's it? What?
No, don't read.
Oh,
don't
no.
read it.
I just saw one word and went, no.
If my mom is watching, she's like, "What do all these things mean?" She's gonna ask me, "What's a Kit Kat?"
It's not the Kit Kat you got worried about. You're all right. You're well, in theory.
Oh man.
Well, I've learned
Anywho,
something, and he is right. He
yeah,
is here to educate. So thank you for teaching us some moves.
taking us to
Omega
school
bread.
and yeah. He's all right. We were talking about Deceased, the hardcover that they're releasing, you're saying?
Yeah, I think it's already out. So I think they are going to release it as a series of deluxes, but DC tend to do it kind of back to front. They tend to do all that, and then they go, and now here's an omnibus, and you go like, I just bought all the deluxes. So I'm going to hold off until the Omni, and I think there will be one. Well, you never know, do you?
I think so
It's
too.
a gamble, mate. So I'm going to hold out and see what happens. But yeah, I really want to read
Yeah.
this. Aren't
I
there like
think it,
six
it
different books or five books? Like the Unkillables, and I know is one of them, I think.
there are a couple of so I have two that I'm intending to read. Like I did like the first volume that much that I wanted to continue,
Hmm.
but I wanted to see where they're going with it. Like are they is this going to just be a continuing little mini series? Is it going to be complete? How will they collect this?
Yeah.
But I have been itching to read the next stage because I want to go back from the beginning and go through it all as much as I can because it was edge of your seat, one of those sit downs where Old Man Logan had this effect where you sit down in one sitting and
Yeah.
before you know it, you're almost at the end of the book.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it's not necessarily the most groundbreaking thing, but like, man, I was in. Like, I was really invested in that story. I didn't want it to end, or I wanted to know how it ended. So, yeah, it's a page turner. It's a lot of fun. Deceased,
Okay.
my number three.
Good shout. Well, hey, look, before we head into the break, we're going to have a quick look at what some of the comments are. Oh, God, I'm terrified. This is the true horror. So, right, bear with me. Okay. So, oh, God. I'm going to read as much of this as I can. So, Omega Bread suggested his horror pick is Amazing Spider-Man Sins Past, and the horror is seeing Norman Osborn's face. His moment face. That story is a horror in itself, man. So there's also Omega Bread also praises Out as a great little read. He says there's quite a few other books from AWA that are worth a look. The Year Zero is a fun zombie tale. I think there's been a few Year Zero books, haven't there, if I remember rightly? So I think there are a couple. Like a lot of AWA is done in one, but some books there are a few in the set. Devil's Highway involves a serial killer mystery. It's a serial killer mystery involving truckers and cults. Well, there you go. Another cult one. Oh, it's a cult we didn't like.
Yeah.
My,
No, you know what? The cult stuff is very interesting.
the cult
That
stuff is
that in
interesting.
itself
Yeah.
is like, yeah, that there's a horror and all of that.
Yeah. No, that's a good shout.
Terrifying.
Silent Hill
Ugh.
Dying Inside is a story that comes to mind for Yansem, especially the first two chapters with art by Ben. Oh, Ben Templesmith does it. So Ben Templesmith is, I think he's most famous for 30 Days of Night, if I remember rightly. But he's a great horror artist just because like his stuff is, it looks a bit like, I always compare it to Ralph Steadman, but he's not a comic artist. But that's who he reminds me of. But I think I've been told before that I'm completely wrong about that. But there you go. I'm not going to talk about some of the other stuff that's in the list, but feel free, everyone, to add more suggestions in. We will quite gladly share
Yes.
the clean ones. So, are you
Yeah.
ready for a break?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So, I actually have a list of things to mention. Hang on.
Okay.
Sorry. It's so small. Don't. Right. So, on the site, at the moment, sorry, damn it, I didn't get mute in time. So, recently added to the Omniverse Comics Guide, since we were last on, we've had Let's Talk Comics with Reed Reads. And I say we, that is by our associate podcast, Geekable, who are now under the Omniverse umbrella. So if you've not listened to Geekable before and their podcast, jump on, give them a shout, follow them on all your favourite platforms. Nick's been on the show before, so you may well be familiar with him. He's just like the nicest damn guy on the planet. He loves old school comics, modern comics, and also likes a lot of the film and TV adaptations, whereas we tend not to kind of delve into that much. So
we're the grumpy old
the grumpy old bastards.
Who's the hip cool guy?
Yeah, get off my lawn. So if you wanna hear stuff about the bits that we don't tend to talk about, jump on over to Geekable. There's loads on there. So he's got reads on. I think there's another episode out in a minute where Anas, who started the series, who started Geekable with him, is talking about the first episode of Loki. So yeah, it's a completely different mix to what you get here, and it's great stuff. So jump over there and give it a listen. I keep saying a watch. I'm so used to saying a watch because that's what we do. Yeah. So also on the Omniverse Comics Guide, Rise of the Midnight Suns, the first major-ish, well, that's a six-parter really, event from the Ghost Rider relaunch from the 1990s. I say six-parter, there's some other little additional bits in that aren't official, but it shows you what order to read them in. So that's the storyline that introduced the Nine, which included Blade, Morbius, who else was on it? God, the Darkhold Redeemers, and it gets a little bit obscure and weird. But yeah, so it's Marvel's 90s horror books, which were more of a line of horror, but it wasn't like typically horror. They were kind of the supernatural characters. So jump on there, give that a look, especially if you've never read it before. Also, Misha spent a lot of time putting together 3 entries for new releases. So we have our incoming episode, which is available on the site now, where we picked 10 of our favorites. So you may have been watching this last week. Of course you were. Why wouldn't you? So while we do have that, and we do list some of the other ones we're excited about, the DC Marvel new releases entry covers everything from Marvel and DC in November. Likewise for the Dark Horse and Image entry, and then there's one that's labeled Indian Alternative, and that's basically everything else. So it should be all the collected editions all the time. It's everything. So if you do want to have a close look at what's coming out, go on those pages. If you want to hear our recommendations, why wouldn't you value our opinion? Jump on and listen to the incoming episode. I'm just going to very quickly check. There's... Oh! Also, the first Batman reading order is downloadable on the site. And jump on our Discord, as we've mentioned before, because we're constantly plugging that. And it's great to have new people jump on and recommend stuff. It's broken down largely the way that we break down the podcast episode, so the themes are all there. But if you feel there's something we should be covering, just let us know. We're well up for taking any suggestions. And you can get tons more stuff from us. Well, I say tons more. There's new stuff coming all the time by joining either our Patreon or signing up and supporting the Omniverse Comics Guide on the website. Recently, there was the Iron Man, Many Armors of Iron Man episode, which was the first one, but we're going to have some new stuff coming. My plan is this week, and by the time this gets edited and drops on YouTube, it hopefully will already be on. So, but I'm not going to say what it is. Shh. Shall I tell you? Yeah.
Tell us.
So, because it's kind of Halloween themed, we're bringing back the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, Book of the Dead, Where Are They Now? So each entry, we look at one of the characters from the old 1986 Book of the Dead and find out if they're actually still dead, thanks to the revolving door of mainstream comics. So yeah, it's just a fun little look at part of their histories, and also, are they still dead? And we'll kind of do a tally at the end probably and see how many have had the courtesy to stay in the grave. Ooh.
Nice. Wow, lots of stuff going on.
Lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, we got some comments saying that the new release entries were fantastic.
Oh, thank you, well Meat done. Trunks, man. That's cool. Thank you.
Meat Trunks. Shout out to Meat Trunks. Yeah, great. That's awesome.
Oh, what, to Meat Trunks?
All right, are we... All of you guys. It's all awesome. Just seeing the people on the... Seeing people on the chat, seeing the stuff that's happening on the website. It's very cool.
Yeah. Loads and loads of stuff to come. So, and thank you to everyone who's supporting the site. We're going to start shouting out everyone who does support us as well. So you're going to get your names on here. If anyone objects to that, incidentally, please let us know and we won't include your name in case you're like the FBI are after you or anything. I'm looking at you, Omega Brad.
Nice. Are we back into the count? Is it your time
I
or
think
time for your number three?
it's time for my number 3. Oh,
Let's do it.
and it's an unexpected one. Well, it won't.
Okay.
It won't be
Okay.
if you're following Dave.Omniverse, who is I, on Instagram. You may well have seen that I've been reading this series at the moment, and it's been a really, really pleasant surprise. I've actually finished it, but review-wise, I've only got so far. So this is look at the size of this bastard. So this is your standard size, oversized hardcover, by the way.
Wow. Yes.
It's big.
That's a big boy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sauce bottle. I've been. It's very hard to get these versions of the Sixth Gun, but they are releasing 3 compendiums, 3 paperback compendiums in the new year, 2024. I think over between February and June or something like that. So I started buying the deluxe editions. There's 6 of them. And then in that time, I kind of started to read more of Cullen Bunn stuff, and I found that it didn't really gel with me. So I've ended up having those 6 volumes sat on my shelf for ages, and then recently, I'll admit, I got to a point where I just went, I don't think I'm going to read these. So I put them on my pile to go, and then I went, this is stupid. It was really hard to get those books, so I'm going to just read them. I'm so glad I did.
And
I'm so glad that I did. It gets really good by the end, but it is straight off the bat. So it's a horror western. So it's got your kind of horror tropes with your demonic stuff and your undeads, and there are all sorts of other monsters in it. But it's set in the wickedy wild west, Jim West.
Cool.
So,
Right.
I mean, you can see. I don't know. You can see from just the cover there. That is one of the main bad guys, covered in chains. He's largely in a coffin for a lot of it. And what the main 3-4 characters, some of the characters change up over time, are trying to gain possession of the 6. So there's 6 shooters, 6 guns, and the 6th gun in particular has a ability. Each gun has an ability. So like one of them causes plague. One of them will kill you by plague rather than bullets. One of them I think kills you by fire or just a massive explosion. Another one can resurrect those it's killed. So they come back made of the earth or whatever's around. But the 6th gun can show you the future. So if you get all 6 guns together, something can happen. And if the wrong person gets the 6 guns together, then the world is literally apocalyptic level concern. So it's a great build up. It's
The
50
Infinity
issues.
Guns.
Essentially the Infinity Guns, yeah. Oh my god, I didn't think of that. Oh, do you know what? I don't like it now. Oh, the Infinity Gauntlet's better. No, it's I don't know though. It's pretty damn good. It's a contender. So it's 50 issues. There are, I think, four spin-off minis, and there's another series that spins out of it as well. I think they're talking about doing a follow-up. I think just sticking to the 6th gun itself is enough. There's enough there, and there is a reading order coming this week on the Omniverse Comics guide on Friday. So that will guide you through, because some of the minis are good, but you don't necessarily need to read them. But it's all there for those that do want to read it all. So give it a look. I'm not necessarily Cullen Bunn's biggest fan. I did like his Sinestro, but this has swayed me. And Brian Hurt is the artist on this, and he is something else. Again, it's that kind of slightly animated style, which then when something's really horrific, you go like, oh, okay, wasn't expecting that. Also, issue 21 is one of my favourite single issues of all time. I should probably save that for a best single issues thing. Screw it. I'm saying it now.
Yes, you should.
Shall I save it?
right.
I'm not going to talk about it anymore. But issue 21 is fantastic, and I will go into it more one day. But seriously,
Okay.
this series
Good
is so
idea
good.
for an episode.
Yeah. I think someone may have even suggested it. I'll go back on our suggestions from followers. If you do, incidentally, have any suggestions for stuff you'd like to see us cover in the top 10s, feel free. We will shout you out on the
Good shout
episode.
out.
And oh, you set me off. Oh, I did. Right. Sorry. You got me there, you bastard. So, yes, we will shout you out and credit you yeah, feel free to mention anything you'd like to see us cover. But yeah, The Sixth Gun is my number 3, and it is fantastic. Please read it.
Nice. Nice pick. I've always seen it on shelves, but I've never paid much attention to it. I'm gonna look out for it different now.
Yeah, like
Good pick.
the paperbacks coming out next year. I think they're called Omnibus. I can't remember, but they're paperbacks. They're 4 chunky, so they're compendium size. I don't think they're called compendiums. I will show that on screen probably when I do the edit. But yeah, it's great.
Okay. Nice. Six Gun. Colin Bunn. And yeah, you don't often sing the praises of Colin Bunn like some fans do. You're very like honest about what you like, what you don't like. So
Yeah,
for you to give this a high recommendation, it's an honest review.
I don't like to be mean, but he really surprised me on this. This is champion work.
Nice. Nice pick.
Thank you.
Okay, number 4. This is one that I read in preparation for an interview with the writer, and it was off the beaten path of what he's usually known for. So it's Jerry Conway doing Carnage. I don't know, and Mike Perkins on the art, Mike Del Mundo on the covers. It's a straight up horror story. You got John Jameson and Eddie Brock and this team of, I guess they're Carnage hunters. They're trying to catch him, but he is trying to increase his power in a very, I don't know if the comparison to Cthulhu is fair. Like he's trying to combine himself with a monster of that nature, and if he can, he's unstoppable. But it's the horror story and the chase of it all, and Marvel Comics. The history of John Jameson is that he's transformed into a werewolf,
Yeah.
right? Is it Man-Wolf is his character?
Man-Wolf, yeah, or Star God, depending on which version, but yes.
Right. And so that character is present in this horror story. So you got a werewolf-esque character, and then of course you've got Eddie Brock, who I think at this time is going as Toxin. So you've got all kinds of different elements in play.
Right.
Different reasons why people are involved in this hunt for Carnage. And it's a classic Marvel writer known for that post Stan Lee era of Spider-Man. He's most famous for, right?
Yeah.
And doing something, I think it was 2014-ish.
I
Very
think
different
it was
for Carnage.
Post Secret Wars. I think it was like 2016, maybe.
Yeah, somewhere
Nearest, damn it.
in that in the tens. Yeah, the 2010s somewhere. But it was 16 issues. Stands alone. Frightening read. It's got all the elements that you want to be scared. Right? You got the monster, you've got the werewolf, a lot of it is taking place in claustrophobic spaces. It's all there.
Hasn't it got Victoria
Highest
Montesai
recommendation for it. I think so.
Because yeah,
I can't remember. I'll be honest with you.
Nah, that's cool. No, she's one of the. So I mentioned Rise of the Midnight Suns. She was one of the 9. She's one of the Darkhold Redeemers. So that harks back to the 1990s Marvel horror era.
I think that's. Yeah.
Nice.
That it was something I would have liked to reread in preparation for this, just because I remember it being, so different in regards to Jerry Conway's body of work.
Yeah.
But I know that he dabbled in that kind of stuff. Did he do Tomb of Dracula or any of those stories, Werewolf by Night, back in the day?
No, that was Marv Wolfman, I think, did Tomb of Dracula. I could be wrong. I'm not really that up on my 70. I can't remember. I'd have to look.
Yeah, I just feel like those writers of that generation wrote a little bit of everything. So it's not like, hey, you've never written horror before. But in this case, with a character like in the Spider-Man realm, this was straight up a scary story in a lot of ways. It was cool. It was very well done.
Nice.
Meat Trunks is saying that the Carnage story was building up towards Donny Cates' Venom.
Yeah.
So there's a little. I'm not sure if anything changed in the series of where they had to end the story or whatnot, but I think he had said that they had to kind of wrap it up, and so he had like back doors of how to get out of. I think it was maybe going to be 20 issues, but instead they went to 16, so he had like a way out. I don't remember completely, but it was a very strong story.
The hazards
And the
of writing
covers are
mainstream
beautiful. Like,
books. Do you remember who does the covers? I did look at them. I did look at them for some reason now. I can't remember who did the covers, but I was checking them out.
Mike Del Mundo.
It was Mike Del Mundo. Of course it was.
Yeah, yeah, he did. Yeah. And so that in itself is a treat. He captures the scary in those covers for sure. Yeah, good. It's good stuff. Good Marvel stuff that I think I've mentioned it once upon a time in our Hidden Gems when
Yeah.
we did it on
I
the Cave of
think it came
Solitude. I
up
might have
on.
mentioned it to you
Yeah, I think it
before.
was on Cave of Solitude. I
Yeah.
couldn't remember, but yeah, because I put it on my list on my Marvel app because of it. So you sold me on that one. So that's a good shout.
Yeah, I have it on my app as well. I didn't have a physical copy to share.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Your number quattro?
Sorry, I was going to say oh, I've run out of black currant, and I'm having to. I've had to rob some lemon. I don't drink lemon. Like it's fucking disgusting. But that's all there is. It's like drinking, like washing up water, not liquid. That'd be different. That'd be like, well, drinking washing up liquid.
Ugh.
Shut up, Dave. Meat Trunk says there's lots of references to Midnight Suns in that Carnage story. Sorry. Lots of references to Midnight Suns in the Carnage story, but it is largely stands alone. But stuff that happens in it still pays off later, like it does matter later on. So yeah, so if you do want to keep reading, there's
As it
somewhere to go,
should.
or it stands alone. So that's nice.
Yeah, it's nice that there's something that still matters later on because it was a strong series that I just probably who'd be excited at that time out of all the things that were coming out to see a Carnage series, let's say.
Yeah,
Maybe there were some, but of course it's going to go under the radar, right? So I'm happy that it's getting that. I hope they make it into some sort of one cover to cover collected edition. That would be really nice. It's deserving of it. Shout out to Jerry Conway and Mike Perkins. Dude,
cool.
you're number 4. Huh.
Thank you. Sorry, I've got to stop. It's only because of the start of the episode. All right, my number 4 is this is the only one that could be a steal because I was a bit worried and I wasn't going to include this one. I was going to try and choose something else, but it occurred to me, and I was going to brush up on it as well because it's been a year since I've read it. I don't know. We did have it on a list at some point, so if this could be a repeat, but forgive me. It's Wonder Woman: Dead Earth. So
I was gonna pick that.
you were. Oh, you didn't though, right?
Good pick. Oh, no, it wasn't on my list, but I love that you picked it. Great book.
Cheers, man. I did notice as well, like a lot of all the stuff I've chosen tonight is basically from the last 10 years or 11. But yeah, it's all fairly recent.
So be it.
So yeah, because I was thinking like, there's so much. I've got a real fascination at the moment with. I know I mentioned the Bronze Age DC stuff. I've got a bit of a fascination with, but I'm also really into like their horror books and the standalone stuff, just to even just look at right now. But I do want to start working my way through them and reading them. But hey, I haven't had time. So instead, those of you who are interested in Daniel Warren Johnson's Transformers and maybe want to see what he's done before, this is a really good choice. So he's done a few standalone stuff for the big two. Actually, everything he does is pretty standalone, isn't it? That seems to be his thing.
Yeah.
So Wonder Woman: Dead Earth is, I don't like using the word post-apocalyptic, but it's a post-apocalyptic thing, basically. She is the sole survivor.
It really is.
Yeah, it really is. A world of monsters, and you're trying to piece together exactly what happened. So there's an element of mystery involved, and maybe that's where it might have come up before, or I don't know. I feel like we mentioned it, but hey, it's worth a mention several times. And you're trying to get to the bottom of
We've
what
mentioned it, but
yeah, but
it's been a while.
Yeah, I don't know when. But she's trying to get to the bottom of this mystery, but also she's fighting these insane, crazy monsters, as you'd expect from Daniel Warren Johnson. These massive, are they like worms? They're kind of these weird creatures. It reminds me.
It's got a feel of like
film?
Dune.
Yeah,
got like a
is
Dune
it Dune
feel.
or what was the one with Kevin Bacon?
Oh, Tremors.
Tremors. Oh, a little bit. And now I'm looking at it again. There's more
Right.
like people and stuff, and maybe it's not Tremors. And there's a little bit of everything in there. Who knows?
But like you said, Daniel Warren Johnson, the monsters and the fighting, like the big huge battles of he's the best at it. He's
Yeah.
so good. He was a great fit for the. I didn't know how he was gonna pull off a Wonder Woman story with, but it's not like he hadn't worked with female character like lead female characters in his books, but
Yeah,
yeah,
because
I
he
was
does an
very interested.
extremity, wasn't it?
Yes, exactly.
And then
But
it's kind
man,
of
he pulled it off. He go ahead. I think there's a delay again.
oh,
We
don't worry.
apologize,
You carry
everybody
on.
on
You
my
carry on. Don't
that
worry. There
delay.
is a delay, but it's one of those. Thank you for your patience, everyone watching. But yeah,
Yeah,
you carry on, dude.
we're intercontinental folks.
We are.
No, I just was gonna say that he's able to he knows what his strengths are. So a lot of times when he works on a book, like after this Wonder Woman, I think one of the next thing he did at Marvel was the Beta Ray Bill stuff.
Yeah,
And you're
I think
kind
you're
of
right.
like, I can see him pulling that off too. Like he's knowing what to pick. He's not just going for the big name stuff for the sake of it. It's more like I got a story to tell,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna do it. Even like the Jurassic League,
Oh
it
my god, I
seems like
forgot.
something that he right?
Yeah,
I want to check that out. But because it's him, it's like, yeah, I could see him drawing dinosaurs fighting as the Justice League. I don't know why, but
he doesn't draw
if
it
that's
though.
even the premise,
But there is a really good.
he doesn't draw it.
No, there's a great
Yeah.
choice of artist, but he doesn't draw it. But it's very Daniel Warren Johnson, and it's the Justice League
Yeah.
are dinosaurs.
I believe like it's only something if someone said he's writing it, I'd be like, yeah, I
Yeah,
believe it. That's something he would come up with.
yeah. If it was someone else, you'd go, no, I'm not reading that.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
No, that's good.
that's my numero quattro. It's a great book.
We're on number cinco.
It's oh my god, we made it almost to the endage, dude.
Almost there. All right. Ah, man. I'm torn between something that I've read a number of times and something that I've read the complete I don't know how to put it, but one of them involves two omnibuses in the DC universe that kind of like blend into each other. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna keep it easy for people to buy it if they want it. I'm
Mm,
gonna go with Batman. There's this omnibus, and it's
mm.
not the Court of Owls that I'm referring to. I'm referring to Death of the Family storyline,
Okay.
where a Joker with his face cut off and he's stapled it back on, and it's rotting, and he's just you don't know who this character is anymore, but you can hear every when I read it, I took myself to a place where I heard all the different voices of the Joker that I'm familiar with
Mm.
coming from this version of him because it's like this amalgam of the cartoon, the animated series, a little mix of the uh, Christopher Nolan
Yeah.
Joker, the Heath Ledger
Heath Ledger.
style,
Mm.
right? Very creepy, very horrific. And then he kidnaps the Bat family and it has everyone at his mercy. Basically, he's got Batman by the balls, right?
Bat balls.
I know who you are. He's got him by the bat balls. And it's just a storyline that I don't know how you feel about it, but as far as being uncomfortable and creeped out, there's that moment where he's got the entire family tied up. And
Almost-
you want to know like what can he do? Like, oh my goodness. He's won. It's that moment where you're thinking to yourself, if he gets out of this, I don't believe it. It was that kind of that good level of creepiness and fear of what he's capable of. Yeah, that one encapsulated for the Joker for me. So Batman's very accessible. It's the Batman New 52, Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo on the art, and you can get the one trade if you like. Death of the Family.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Nice.
Did you enjoy that story?
I don't remember. I've read it twice. I think I liked it better the second time because I think there was so much
Mm-hmm.
on it the first time because they mentioned it in like the press. It was mentioned in the Guardian and stuff over here as a recommendation, which was so weird. And a mate of mine went, I have to read this thing. And he bought the single issues. He went, I didn't know what I was doing. I bought the single issues, and now I don't know what to do with them. So do you want them? And then I read them without having read Court of Owls or anything from that. That was the first Batman, New 52 Batman I'd read. Or any of the New 52 stuff. And then I thought, I'm going to give some more Batman a go. So there must have been something in it to make me want to do it. I just can't remember it that clearly. Like, I can't remember how it ends. But, yeah.
Yeah, I think after that storyline, no, I'm misremembering. But yeah, it is a moment in the Batman family. It's a very quintessential Batman family story where the events of this, there's fallout from it,
Yeah.
right? So it makes the story mean a little bit more of something in the Batman mythology. But yeah, let me show you the back cover because the back cover shows you an image from Death of the Family. It's very hard to open
Oh,
this
yeah.
omnibus. Can you see it?
Yeah.
That's the Joker's
You
face.
could buy it for a while,
Yeah.
which was a bit
Yeah,
weird.
exactly. It came in a yeah.
Oh,
So I imagine that they're going to omnibus this book because there's a lot of tie-ins with the other Bat family. There, I think the Nightwing
oh,
book, the
what? Just
Batgirl book, everybody's book
maybe they might.
bec-
I don't know if
because
they will.
they
They've
have
kind
the
of done it. They've kind of done it. There's a Joker Deluxe,
kind
which has
of
all the
yeah
yeah. But who knows?
yeah. There's so I'm not sure. Who knows? But it's Batman. With Batman, they print everything all over and over and over again. So
Don't they
that'll be my
just?
number 5 pick. Yeah.
Nice. No, that's cool.
Um.
Actually, Omega Red's on here saying that Capullo's art during the suck was so unsettling. The little touch is like having flies buzzing around the Joker's rotting face. My God, yeah, I forgot about that. And the scene where Joker cuts the power in
Yeah.
the GCPD station is done incredibly well. So, like, yeah, even if there's some controversy or there's some debate as to whether or not it's a fantastic story, there are definitely some parts that are done incredibly well.
Yes. And I think that at that time, the Court of Owls was getting so much attention constantly.
Yeah,
And it was a great story, but I felt like this psychologically really is to Scott Snyder's strength.
yeah,
He really is. He loves horror, doing
yeah, he
horror. So
does.
that getting him, he's good at it too, right?
Yeah.
His Swamp Thing almost was the other option.
Oh, that's a
Spoilers
good
of what I would
shout.
have gone with. It was Animal Man Swamp Thing. I wasn't sure, but
I nearly
we
went
could
with
get into that
Witches.
later,
I nearly went with Witches by him from Image. Because that is the
right?
creepiest book I've ever read. Ever.
He's got a knack for it. He's
Yeah.
got a knack for it. So shout out to Scott Snyder. I'm always gonna think of it every time I shout out now. I love it. Shout out to everybody.
Shout out
Shout
to
out
my
to my dog.
microphone
Shout
for
out
being there. Shout out to my lamp.
Yeah, shout out to my Sevia. Dave,
Oh,
numero cinco.
I've just flashed my thing, which I
Bring it on
apologize
home.
for. But this is my this is my number 5. Surprise! Guess what it is? A number of times I've mentioned this book, so it's not, it's come up, but I think it's come up more in speakeasies. But I was going to include it in the top 10 mysteries, and I didn't because I figured we'd do Halloween, and I figured it would be the perfect choice for Halloween. So, one of my favourite books of all time. Image are doing brilliantly at the moment for releasing stuff in compendium format. So next year, Sex Criminals is coming out as a single compendium. Low, I think, has been a compendium. Black Science, they're 2 compendium set. They're really
Want that? I
beefing
want
out the
that. I want
compendium.
that.
So that's brilliant. I'm expecting this in compendium format. It's Revival. The hardcovers are quite hard to get. I think you probably get the paperbacks more easily. But this is... we were talking about small town... No, was it us or were we talking... I had a conversation recently about someone talking about small town America stuff. And I really love that small town America stuff. Who was... Oh, it was Reed Reeds. Talking about the small town... I think. He was talking about the small town America stuff. And he was saying, I don't know what it is, but I love it. I love that kind of thing. And this is that. So it's a very small place. It's like an Alaskan town, I think, or something. So it's very kind of snowy and hemmed in. And overnight, the people who've died in the last, 3 months, 6 months, come back to life. So they're not zombies; they're alive again.
Hmm.
But I think they look a bit pasty. But the problem is when the dead come back, they bring their secrets with them. So that's what this is kind of about. And can you kill the dead again? What happens? Why are they back? Why are people alive? And there's like spirits moving around, and there's all sorts of stuff. So it's like you've got mystery, you've got crime, you've got this whole kind of, well, that's mystery is what problem solving. That's mystery. You've got horror elements, you've got everything in this book, and it's so well paced, so well done. It's by Tim Seeley, and Tim Seeley writes tons of horror stuff. He loves his horror stuff, and he loves his smut, and I like both too. So excellent choice for me. But on this one, it's quite just grown up, suspenseful, horror related storytelling. There are some the covers. I forgot about the covers. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, and I apologize once again. Is it Jenny Friesen who does the covers? These are the covers. But yeah, she does tons of covers. She does all the covers, I think, for the whole series, unless I'm mistaken. But the art is by Mike Norton, and Mike Norton on this book has a similar-ish style to Paul Pelletier, which I know I've definitely said on here before. So it's like a slightly toned down, less detailed version of Paul Pelletier. So it's just beautiful lines, simple artwork. I say simple like it isn't very good. It's fantastic. It suits the tone so well. All the characters are really defined, and that's a really, really important thing to underline. I think when you have an artist, there are so many artists where you go, if you just did this in black and white, I wouldn't know who was who. Ed Norton. Mike Norton's brilliant at really defining these characters, especially when two of them are related. So they kind of have to look similar, but you also have to make sure you're knowing which one is which. But it's great character work, and I love this series so much. I can't remember how many issues it is. I think it's something random like 48 or something like that. I will have a quick look.
37.
37, thank you. It's completely...
Is that right?
I don't know. I'll go with what you just said because I believe you. I 47.
47. I knew there was a 7.
It's definitely
you were right,
7
though.
in it.
You did say... I was so close to getting the first 2 volumes in that edition that you showed us there at my favorite bookstore in Toronto, BMV.
Shout out to BMV.
Getting that volume 3, shout out to BMV. But getting that volume 3 would have been a headache. So I hope they put this in a compendium, because I've heard you mention this a number of times with the best of reviews. So, the 4 thumbs up reviews, as they say. And you rarely praise, like, you don't give everything the 5-star treatment. And this one, all the way through, you're like, this is incredible. This is why I read comics.
Yeah. This is what made me jump to Image really hard, because I think at the time Image this was roughly when I was dropping off Marvel. And Image at the time, their app was great for first issues. They'd make a load of first issues free, but a lot of them were from the period where they were kind of transitioning between the kind of bombastic superhero stuff and the almost Vertigo stuff. So there was a lot of kind of hit and miss in there. So I was reading some of the Image first issues going like, yeah, it's all right. I'm not sure. It's okay. And nothing really sold it. And I think Revival was the first one that really, really sold it to me. It's like, I need to get more Image stuff. That's it. I'm done. I'm all on Image now for a while. So I was just
When did that come out?
So it started in 2011, but I think they started collecting the deluxes. It probably would have been like a year or 2 later. So I think when if I remember rightly, when I picked it up, 2 volumes were out already. So I read, because there are 4 volumes of the deluxe, if you're ever lucky enough to find them. But yeah, I think there were 2, it could be 3. But I read volume 1, and it's 12 issues, I think. And I was midway through the last issue in this book and jumped on my phone and ordered the next book. I hadn't even finished. I hadn't even got to the end. I'm like, I have to know it's coming to my house. I have to know it's on its way. I just loved it. So I can't speak highly enough of it.
That's great.
It was getting loads of praise at the time as well. So it was making it into the top 100s in various different sites. But it was quite further back on the list You know, because a lot of the time they go like, here's some really good stuff, and then here's all the superhero stuff at the top, and you go like, yeah, but is that the best really? Is it? And I think this trumps most of the stuff that was out from the big two at the time, easily.
Usually it does.
Yeah,
Usually it
usually it
does
does.
when a writer has a story that they've been waiting to tell it. And with stuff like that and the praise that it gets, it seems like I've got a story I want to tell.
Mm.
Imagine this. I don't want it to be a superhero story. I need it to be a human story.
Yeah,
And again, it seems like, and I haven't read it, but from what I've read about it and from what you've said about it, it seems like one of those stories that is an example of what you can do in comics,
yeah,
like Preacher.
yeah. No, absolutely.
Like this is
I mean,
this is what the medium can do.
yes, I've kind of said that about stuff like Saga as well. And even though they're adapting Saga now, which I kind of think, well, how are you going to do that? I'm like, okay, fine, let's have a look. Comics are the answer for this. This, like, when people go like, it's great, but wouldn't it be good if it was on TV? Maybe not. It's already great. Why would you go, I like this, but can I have it in a different format that might not work as well? It's already great.
Yeah, I try to say that to people, but everyone's like, "Yeah, I'd rather just watch it all the time."
Heathens.
Like, right? Just
TV
give
is
it a
not
shot.
the pinnacle. Comics are the pinnacle. There are
Of a
no
good,
producers
yeah.
involved in this. There aren't that many people stopping it from being what it has become. Whereas when you put it on in a film
no
or TV,
budget.
there's no budget, really, you know. And as soon as there's big money involved, they start tinkering with it and getting a team of writers in and going, why don't we just change the end? Like, because so I have no major issue with adaptations, despite saying all this, because sometimes they work. I really want to see The Killer. I want to see what they're going to do with The Killer on Netflix, because it's David Fincher. But it's a film.
Right.
It's not. That's not going to cover the whole thing. Maybe they'll do it as a series of films, but will it be as good as the comic? I mean, the comic is immense.
There's certain things that the show will not capture. It's just like when they adapted from a real book.
Yeah.
You can never, unless you've read the book yourself, you'll never be able to convince somebody. Like, read the book. I guarantee you, if you like the movie and you start that book, you're going to be surprised at how much more, like, man, I didn't know this and this and this about the character. Now, when I watch the movie, that means more.
Yeah.
You know, why didn't they put that in? It's like, well, I don't know.
Well,
that's why the books are better.
To massively veer off.
Right? That's why the comics are better.
My mate said, read American Psycho. And I went, all right. And I made it through about 12. That was the book that made me stop reading novels, because I couldn't remember who was who, because everyone seemed the same to me. So I started drawing all the characters and writing their names so I could remember who was who. And I basically ended up doing a comic adaptation, short form. And I was going like, why aren't I just reading comics? It's so much easier. I'm a visual person. And then you watch the film, and there are bits in it where I'm going, that doesn't make any sense. And I talked to my mate, and he went, yeah, if you read the book, then like you understand what. Well, if I need to read the book, why don't I just go back and read the damn book? So films aren't always the best. The book? No, I still haven't. I can't remember.
No,
I'm not a novels guy. I've got no memory.
You got a pretty great memory, from what I can tell.
I'm thinking of the pictures, though. That's how it works, see?
I see. Yeah. That makes sense. Omega Bread said at Omniverse Comics Guide, if you like Gotham small town Americana tales, then check out The Texas Blood. It's a pulp western crime thriller with a sprinkle of horror thrown in for good measure. The artwork by Jacob Phillips, Sean Phillips' son, is gorgeous too.
Oh, wow.
Very cool.
I've heard about it, but I've heard very mixed things.
That's very cool.
Because Omega Bread has said it, I am going to try that. Seriously, I'm not taking the piss. He'll think I am, but I'm not. I'm going to give that a try. That sounds really intriguing. Sean Phillips' son, I didn't realize.
Nice.
Okay, that's really cool.
I didn't realize Sean Phillips was old enough to have a son who was a professional comic book artist, right?
No. It's amazing how you find out how old everyone is at the moment. And you get all these creators or musicians and stuff, and they're going, because I'm 50, and they go like, what? You can't be 50. But
no way, yeah. You got to be 28 forever.
Yeah, forever and ever. I remember your picture in Wizard magazine in the 90s. You can't be any older than that now. Meat Trunk said he's just finished Revival Volume 3 a couple of days ago, and it's brilliant. So I'm really, really glad someone else is reading it at the moment and backing me up here. It is a fantastic series.
Yeah, I'll definitely pick that up if it comes out in compendium or if they re-release the hardcovers or even digital. I just want, yeah, it seems like
Yeah,
a
whatever format.
must
Read it.
read.
There are so many options. You can get digital. You can buy the single issues if you wanted to. You can buy the trades. Like Ansem says, that I think it was who said he was trying to get the Volume 3 Deluxe like you were, and it was ridiculously expensive. So trying to get the deluxes now at this point doesn't seem like a good option. You might get lucky, but if you definitely want to have the run and then you want to dig into it, maybe aim for the trades. I don't know how much they are, but there may well be a compendium coming. Harass Image, get them to release a compendium.
There will be.
It
There will
deserves it. And it'll probably be a one book compendium. Maybe.
be. Yeah, I
We'll
think
see.
you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Might as well. Might as well do it that way.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, your recommendations have been very helpful. Thank you, everyone on the
Yeah.
chats. That's been great. Dave, good picks.
Likewise,
Surprisingly, I think this episode will resonate with people for things to read,
dude. I hope so.
right? Because people
Yeah.
want to get in the mood for stuff,
Oh, shit.
and it's it's okay. You're still here.
Sorry.
Hello.
That hurt.
Oh, are you all right?
Oh, yeah, it's fine. Just hurt my ears.
I didn't do my usual spiel at the beginning. Do you want to do it to take us out? Do you want to put on your
No. Oh, yeah. Do you want me to do
Eric
it?
Anthony?
All right. Hang on.
Yeah, take us out of here as me. Why not? Make it full circle. Make sure you shout out as many shout out to shout outs.
Okay.
How about we do a shout out to shout outs?
I'd like to give a big shout out to the end of the show. Shout out to my friend Dave
have a hat today.
Dave Molyneux's over there. Do you want to be me? Can you do it?
I'd have to work on it, but I could do it. I could do it.
Do it. Hi, Dave Molyneux. How you doing?
Molyneux. I'll come back to you with an impression. When I give you the impression of you, you're gonna laugh.
Is it gonna be all right? All right, me governor.
No, it'll be good.
Supercalifragilistic
I'll come with one.
expialidocious.
No, I'll have to listen in.
Okay.
I'm good at impressions, actually. Not too bad.
You've been threatening one for a while,
do
so
'em.
I'm looking forward to it, man. But
Yeah.
should I take us out?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, let's take us out. Take us out, dude.
Okay, it's the end of the show, motherfuckers. Thanks so much for listening. A shout out to headphones so I can hear you all. A shout out to everyone in the chat. If you want to support the Omniverse Comics guide, go to omniversecomics.guide. That's where it's at. That's where all the comic stuff you need is there. It's all there. Mother flippers. So head over there. You got your podcasts. You got your reading orders. They're really excellent. The best reading orders you can get. I've thrown that bit in for me. The best reading orders in the world. In the universe.
But
Shout
I do
out,
say that.
Shout out to the universe.
To the universe.
So we'll see you there.
That's
Jump
great.
on, support the omniversecomics.guide, and you can also follow us on the Discord. You can follow us on the Instagrams and a number of other social media things. Shout out to social media. We will see all of you next time, mother flippers, on the Omniverse Comics Guide podcast. Peace out. Word to Mumsy.
Word to mom. Shout out to my mom.
Shout out to my mom and his mom. Good night, Dave. See you next time.
Good night, Dave.
All right. Peace.